Looking for a perfect date night meal? How about a gourmet bacon-wrapped filet mignon? Today we dive into a culinary delight that's sure to dazzle. Imagine a rich, tender filet mignon, lovingly wrapped in thick-cut bacon, seasoned with just a touch of salt and pepper, and caressed with a drizzle of olive oil. Perhaps you fancy a sprinkle of your favorite herbs or spices. The choice is yours. This recipe is not only delicious, but also easy to make. Ready to impress your date with your culinary skills? First things first, gather all your ingredients. When it comes to crafting a gourmet bacon-wrapped filet mignon, the quality of your ingredients can make or break the dish. Choosing a high-quality filet mignon is essential. It's the star of the show, after all. Look for a cut that is tender, lean, and beautifully marbled. Now let's not forget the bacon. Opt for a thick-cut variety. It's robust enough to hold up against the heat and provides a delightful contrast to the tender filet mignon. Once you've selected your prime ingredients, it's time to prepare the steak. Pat it dry to ensure a beautiful sear. Season it generously with salt and pepper, letting the natural flavors shine. Now wrap it lovingly in the bacon, creating a snug, meaty parcel. If it feels a tad unruly, don't hesitate to secure it with a toothpick. Now that your filet mignon is ready, it's time to heat up the pan. The secret to a perfect filet mignon lies in the cooking process. There's a certain finesse to cooking a steak, especially one as delicate and tender as a filet mignon. The first step, of course, is to heat up your pan. You want it nice and hot, but not smoking. This is a crucial step, as a properly heated pan will help to sear the steak and seal in those delicious juices. Next, we'll be adding some olive oil to the pan. Not too much, mind you. You don't want your steak swimming in oil, just enough to coat the bottom of the pan. As the oil heats up, it will start to shimmer. That's your cue that it's time to add the steak. Now, here's the fun part. We're going to sear the steak on all sides. This is not a race. You want to take your time, let the heat do its work. Searing isn't just about creating a beautiful crust on the outside of the steak, it's also about locking in the flavor. So, give each side a good few minutes to sear properly. Once the steak is seared, it's time for the oven. Now, depending on your preference, you can cook it to rare, medium, or well done. But remember, filet mignon is best enjoyed at medium rare. That's when it's at its juiciest and most flavorful. Into the oven it goes, and here's where patience really comes into play. You don't want to rush this. Depending on the thickness of your steak and your preferred level of doneness, this could take anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes. But trust me, it's worth the wait. And while the steak is cooking, resist the urge to open the oven door. Each time you do, you're letting out heat and disrupting the cooking process. So save your curiosity for the final product. Remember, the key is to cook it slowly and evenly for the best results. So keep your oven at a steady temperature, let the steak cook undisturbed, and before you know it, you'll have a perfectly cooked, mouth-wateringly delicious filet mignon. After cooking, it's crucial to let the steak rest. Now, you might be tempted to dig in right away, your mouth watering at the sight of the perfectly seared, bacon-wrapped filet mignon. But trust me, patience is key in this final step of the cooking process. It's not about teasing your taste buds unnecessarily, rather it's all about achieving that perfect succulent bite. When you let the steak rest, you're allowing the juices that have been pushed to the center of the steak during cooking to redistribute throughout the entire piece. This is what we call resting, and it's vital to ensuring a juicy steak. So how long should you rest your steak? Well, a good rule of thumb is to let it rest for approximately half the time it took to cook it. So if it took 20 minutes to cook, you'll want to let it rest for about 10 minutes. As the steak rests, the residual heat continues to cook it slightly. This means that the steak will reach the desired degree of doneness without risking overcooking. Moreover, the fibers of the meat relax, absorbing back the juices and making the steak more tender. While the steak is resting, we can turn our attention to the accompaniments. A gourmet steak like our bacon-wrapped filet mignon deserves a fitting side dish. Roasted vegetables make a wonderful complement, their slight crunch and bright flavors balancing the rich, savory steak. You might choose a medley of bell peppers, zucchini, and cherry tomatoes tossed in olive oil, seasoned with a sprinkle of sea salt and freshly ground black pepper, and roasted until they're just tender. Alternatively, you could opt for a classic side of creamy mashed potatoes. Their smooth, buttery texture forms a delightful contrast with the crisp bacon and succulent steak. A sprinkle of fresh herbs like chives or parsley can add a pop of color and a burst of fresh flavor to the potatoes. And there you have it, a gourmet bacon-wrapped filet mignon that's sure to impress. Each bite is a symphony of flavors, the perfect harmony of succulent steak, crispy bacon, and your choice of delicious side. Bon appétit. So, how does it feel to have mastered the art of cooking a gourmet steak? Thrilling, isn't it? Now, you're not just cooking, you're creating culinary art, but let's not stop there. Let's delve into a few more tricks of the trade that can elevate your steak cooking game. Firstly, a meat thermometer can be your best friend in the kitchen. It takes the guesswork out of cooking and ensures that your steak is cooked to your preferred doneness every time. It's a small investment for a potentially big return in terms of taste and texture. Next, don't forget that the cooking time will depend on the thickness of your steak. That's why it's crucial to pay attention to the thickness when you're buying your filet mignon. A steak that's twice as thick will need more than twice the time to cook. So remember to adjust your cooking times accordingly. Now let's talk about the fun part. Seasoning. Sure, we've used a simple salt and pepper rub in this recipe, but the beauty of cooking lies in its endless possibilities. Feel free to experiment with different herbs and spices. How about a touch of rosemary for a fragrant twist? Or maybe a dash of cayenne for a spicy kick? The choice is yours. You could also try various types of bacon for wrapping your filet mignon. Each type of bacon, be it applewood smoked, peppered or maple, will lend a unique flavor profile to your dish. Don't hesitate to mix and match until you find your perfect combination. Lastly, remember that the quality of your ingredients will significantly affect the final result. So splurge a little on high-quality fresh ingredients. Trust me, your taste buds will thank you. Above all, don't forget to enjoy the process. Cooking is not just about feeding our bodies, it's about feeding our souls too. It's about the joy of creating something delicious from scratch and the satisfaction of seeing the smiles on the faces of those who taste your creation. Remember, the best part of cooking is experimenting and having fun. So, don't be afraid to make this recipe your own. And that's it for today's video on how to cook a perfect date night meal. We've journeyed through the world of gourmet cooking and found ourselves at the doorstep of a stunning bacon-wrapped filet mignon. Remember, the secret to this culinary masterpiece lies in the perfect balance of textures and flavors. Let's quickly recap. We started by selecting the finest cut of filet mignon, wrapped it in smoky bacon for that added layer of flavor and texture. Then we seared it to perfection, locking in all the divine juices. The resting period was key, allowing the meat to absorb all the rich flavors we introduced. And finally, we served it with a simple side dish to let the star of the show shine. The beauty of this dish is in its simplicity. The combination of premium ingredients, the right techniques, and a bit of patience can turn an ordinary evening into a gourmet experience right at home. So why not give it a try? Roll up your sleeves, wear that apron, and let the magic of cooking bring joy to your kitchen. Share your culinary adventures with us. We'd love to see how your bacon-wrapped filet mignon turned out. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, happy cooking!